Right, hi guys. Welcome to the latest episode of Cricket Draft Insight. Been a while since I spoke in front of camera. Been making a few sort of my minute long sort of statistical player videos. I did make a few videos during the winter and then ended up deleting them for one reason or another. But let's get back talking in front of camera. I'm going to do this the lazy way, pretty unplanned. Maybe a bit of a catch up, maybe a bit of a talk about the future. But in terms of having some sort of purpose for this video, I'm going to talk through just some of the signings, some of the players that I'm interested in. I anticipate having quite a similar team come the county championship this season, but hopefully it might be sprinkled with a bit of variety too. But I did finish 50th last season, so maybe I shouldn't be changing my team too much. Anyway, hopefully you can all see this. Right, some of these players. So Caleb Jewell will be back. Now, I had him last season, very much upward trajectory player, scored lots of 50s, quick 50s, 100. I think he's made something like 1 and 0 in the Big Bash. T20's not, I don't think that's his best format. And obviously batting at 5 in a team that have like well, at least 5 openers. But hopefully at the top of the order for Derbyshire in the county championship, he'll do well again. So at the moment, I would say he will probably be in my team. But as we talk through this, we are really spoiled for choice now. I mean, it's hard enough, isn't it? In general, you have those players you don't pick, and you often wonder why you don't pick them. Well, I mean, flipping heck, I'm going to have to leave some players out here. So Gabe Bell interests me. Gabe Bell, I think, is a fantastic example. In this particular case, one or two other players here we can talk about I've seen a bit of. I'm not going to claim to have seen a lot of Gabe Bell, but his numbers are very good. And I just think, as with Harry Conway, who we might come to last season, who I had seen bowl a bit, and that's part of why I selected him. I just think he highlights sort of the strength in depth that they have in Australia. Like, he's nowhere near the Australian team, right? But I just expect that he is going to rock up for Gloucestershire and take a ton of wickets. And he is currently possibly likely to be on my bench. But I mean, I'll go straight into it. Bell, Conway, O'Neill, Code, Porter. I mean, at one point I decided I was going to move away from Code because of his injuries. At the moment, I'm thinking I won't pick O'Neill, but he can bat. Keith Dudgeon's on this list. He took 7 wickets in one game last season. He's going back to Kent. So on the Hampshire front, flipping it very quickly around to a batter rather than a bowler, Jake Lehman. So Lehman, a really good example, I think, of look at his numbers and be like, no, so. Last few years, he's been excellent. So in the county championship, Division 1. Now, it'd be interesting. So he's going to bat 4 or 5. Now, I was really keen on Ali Orr. Ali Orr, I think he got 300s in the One Day Cup last season. And he did finish the county championship season in the team, but he just made starts. Obviously, at the start of the season, they signed Stoneman. I'm hoping they're going to back Ali Orr. He's going to open in the county championship, and I believe he's primed to kick on, right? I believe he can score hundreds and he can score quick runs. If you look at somebody like Caleb Jewell, he scored those quick 50s, but in the One Day Cup, Ali Orr has shown he can go on 2. He does hit some 6s. I think he's capable, this year, primed to perform. So then there's like pros and cons, isn't there, of picking, say, an opener and a middle order batter. Maybe a middle order doesn't get a second innings. Maybe an opener, even if it's just a little run chase in the second innings, manages to get something. An opener gets out early, and you maybe wish you'd picked a middle order batter with a bit of protection. But then an opener gets in, and they're capable of going on and scoring a big score, aren't they? Ali Orr, Jake Lehman. I'm not having 2 Hampshire batters, so a decision to be made for me there. Just looking further down this list, I mentioned Harry Conway. I've mentioned him a bit in the past. I like his style, like his attitude, and I like his substance. If he's going to rock up 6 or 7 weeks and take wickets again, in amongst the Bell, Code, Porter, O'Neill dilemma, I'm not sure I can leave Harry Conway out. Though I will have safe Zabe, but I don't think I'll be going down the must have just one player from each team, because I probably want Porter, and I probably will start with Pepper this year. Conway, Bell, under the radar players. Not many people are going to know Gabe Bell. Conway, maybe they saw a bit last year. Not many people are going to know Gabe Bell. You're going to pick Gabe Bell, he's going to take wickets. If he's played 6 or 7 games, 25, 30 wickets, I expect. So O'Neill on this list at Nottinghamshire, as we know, he can bat 2. Did really well last year. Compared with the others, Conway, I feel like there was somebody else. People were aware of O'Neill, okay? And there'll be more than aware. He's a player who comes up, he gets mentioned a bit. A lot of people will be picking Fergus O'Neill, particularly because he's around for, according to this, well, I think it's 6 or 7 matches, isn't it? Pretorius is always a decent one. I never get around to picking him. I'm not going to be able to because of like how congested that all-rounder category is. But if Miguel Pretorius is playing for Somerset, bat and ball, scores quickly, take wickets, never going to let you down. Couple more names on this list that interest me. Bias Swanapoel. At the moment, I anticipate having him in. I mean, Worcestershire, okay, this obsession with right-arm pace bowling all-rounders. I know they're not all the same player. Brooks, Waite, Taylor, Allison. We didn't see much at home last year. I know he did well the ball the year before in the One Day Cup. He can bat based on what he's done for under-19s. And Swanapoel. Before you consider some other bowlers, maybe he's Duffy not around this year, so maybe Swanapoel might open the bowling. Maybe down the order, but he still score runs. He played for Kent a year or two ago. He didn't set the world on fire. But Worcestershire, Division 2 now, I expect Swanapoel to do well. I think they've now, the suggestion is Dwarshus won't be coming. I mean, I wonder if Swanapoel could play in the T20s too. And then Sam Whiteman is a really interesting one. I don't anticipate he's going to keep wicket. I was of the impression he got injured. He didn't really keep wicket anymore. He certainly hasn't in recent times. And he has actually opened primarily for Western Australia. Okay, it doesn't have much of a T20 record when we come to that, but, maybe he can improve. Same goes for Lehman, not perceived to be much of a T20 player. They've got some good batters there. Be interesting to see if these guys play in that competition. Thinking ahead to the One Day Cup, these are the sort of players, I know they're not internationals as such, sort of players you expect, when a lot of the middle ground or top players go away, you expect these sort of players to dominate. Now, where Whiteman bats will be relevant, just staying with the county championship, is he going to disrupt the Live and Bean opening partnership? Bean, a little bit up and down, but there were some signs last year. There was obviously that excellent knock in the One Day Cup in the middle order. So I wonder if Whiteman might be 4, Wharton 3, but they're not keeping wicket. It all ties in then to Bairstow being around. Does Duke get to keep wicket? Does Smith come into the equation? It's a big year for Harry Duke because he's out of contract at the end of the season. I didn't actually do a lot with the bat last season. So Whiteman, he's actually got a good number of hundreds, good record. Again, a player like Lehman who's just getting better. Okay, some people might look and say, don't have stellar stats, not international player. No, the player should come and do well, and actually maybe might be better at 4. And I might be wrong, but I don't think he'll be keeping wicket for the most part. Just another name to mention, because this is kind of covering all competitions, and Cricket Draft did mention they posted like a white ball only thing. So I'll see if I can bring that up without crashing everything. That's the pinned tweet, so it'll be a little bit further down. Right, here's a man I was going to talk about, AJ Tye. Right, so here's white ball, right? Liam Scott, very exciting indeed. Anybody who's been following the Big Bash, I think, aware of him. We'll be interested in him doing well for Gloucestershire. Some familiar names here, Ashton Turner, I'm a big fan of, but, I'm probably not going to get him in my team this year. Sams is a popular one, of course, but I don't know that he's really backed up. Was it Essex when he had a good year a few years ago? I wouldn't say really backed that up. There was a few years ago where he did well with the bat in the Big Bash, but, he does tend to be expensive at times. Who did I want to talk about? The person who's not yet on this list, AJ Tye. So I've always followed Perth Scorchers in the Big Bash, and I'll be honest, he was rubbish last year, okay? And he got released, and he's 39 years old. But I still think he could be a good signing for Yorkshire, okay? He sometimes bowls shorter ball bouncers, and you're like, why are you doing that? But when he just sticks to his slow balls, taking the pace off. I've always said in T20, you take the pace off, the batters have to generate power, right? AJ Tye, he can actually strike a ball. He can hit a few sixes, and I've always found him to be quite an involved fielder. But with the ball, I was just saying to someone, he's probably going to have a game where he goes for nearly 60 runs, right? But he will have games, he's probably going to bowl at the death, and he's just going to pick up 2 or 3 cheap wickets late on, and he'll have a few 3 for 30 or whatever, So I actually am tempted. I might pick him, to be honest with you. Yorkshire player. I can't pick Jordan Thompson. I can, but not from a Yorkshire perspective. So AJ Tye, I think, actually is an interesting little signing. Somebody mentioned, well, I think about New Zealand players, and there were a few touting a few South Africans. Obviously, a lot of Australians here and a few South Africans. New Zealand are interesting because I've been watching, admittedly, only highlights, New Zealand Super Smash, which I just absolutely love because there's just something about the green banks and then just seeing the cars go by and people walk past, like Harper Stadium. I just find it really interesting. Well, the cricket as well, and I did spend a year in New Zealand. Great country, but just watching the cricket there, there's a lot of players, people like Jesse Tashkoff. I would have thought if a team looking for a player in the T20 Blast, maybe the One Day Cup. Peter Younghusband, he's done well for a few years. Somebody else I mentioned, I can't remember now, but getting called into a few of them getting called into the international squad. But even below the international radar, there's some really good players in New Zealand. I would have thought Tashkoff is one. Bevan Jacobs, of course, 550s in a row that people might be interested in. I do sometimes manage to watch a bit of West Indies cricket. I'll be watching Bangladesh Premier League. I managed to watch. I hold my hands up. I don't have Sky at the moment. I had Sky. I had a phase of having Sky, but I mean, life just takes over. Work, family, my daughter's health, etc. I just don't actually get to watch as much as I would like. But the Bangladesh Premier League, obviously, Ethan Brooks is a player I like. It had a strange competition. He didn't have much responsibility, really. Didn't get to do as well as he liked. Adam Rossington obviously did well. He doesn't have a county contract. So, like I say, I normally manage to watch a bit of West Indies cricket at times because it fits in the schedule. Obviously, there's all sorts of leagues going on. Some are free on YouTube, and then there's the thing about Sky, just going back to Sky, because obviously it works, and then you're watching England, but then some of it's on TNT, you know what I mean? It adds up, doesn't it? But in a few years, when I've retired, I'll have Sky again and watch cricket. Obviously, hopefully, lots of it remains on YouTube. Where was I going with this? I was going to say something else. I was just talking about what cricket I've been watching in the winter, or at least following. Some good highlights packages on YouTube, at least your Super Smash and your Big Bash. Sam Harper is one I was talking about pre-Big Bash. He could be a good signing. I actually wondered about Yorkshire signing him, but that's not going to happen now. And just thinking ahead, this channel, hopefully, Cricket Draft are doing all the games, at least in the county competitions, county championship coming. I don't want to be repeating myself if I'm picking the same players. But these little 1 minute statistical videos I do, it's at least something semi-creative. I quite like doing them. And hopefully I can find some purpose to do some talky videos. So I'll probably do a squad announcement, whether I do that as a live stream or something, as we get closer to the time and we know how much everything costs and everyone costs, and we're twisting and turning. I've got a spreadsheet, but some names there, and I'll change my mind. But just thought I'd get myself in front of a camera again. So it wasn't much plan here, but just talk about some players. Let me know which players you're going to be keen on this year, which maybe new players, overseas players, or signings. I think there's some good players got released. Freddie Eldright got released last year. Sammy King, I think, a very good player. And it's interesting seeing these guys get mentioned on Twitter, some of them playing club cricket. Could they get back in? Come maybe the 100, the One Day Cup. Can some of these guys force their way back in? It's exciting to see, isn't it? But anyway, thank you for joining me. Hopefully this works and didn't bore your mind. All right. Hopefully this season is upon us soon. All the best. Thank you. How's that?